Hello, everyone. Welcome to our brand new Medical Monday and a brand new episode of Should You Take That Case? The goal of our show, as always, is to be a resource for legal professionals who pursue medically related cases by sharing their experiences and insights as defense or plaintiff attorneys. It's me, your host, Lisa Wade, and I am a legal nurse consultant, owner of Wade Nurse Consultants. That is a wonderful organization that can help you review and summarize the medical records that come with these medically related cases. But I am also the creator of Attorney Medical Record Resource Group. That is where we get all of our attorney guests, like the one we have today that's coming up soon. That's our LinkedIn community, private LinkedIn community. Visit us and see if it's a group that works for you. We use this as an opportunity to get to know one another, and we're doing that today with our guest, Bob Genis. And first, we're going to scoot over before we get to him and bring up anyone that is checking to see who's visiting us live. If you are visiting us live today, put a P in that chat. If you're a paralegal, excuse me, put an A if you're an attorney. But if you are part of a group, which I hold dear, Women Owned Law, put a W into that chat. Women Owned Law, it is a groundbreaking group created to connect and advance women legal entrepreneurs. Visit us at womenownedlaw.org and see if that is a group that you can get behind. Thanks, everybody, for taking time, precious time out of your busy day to be with us on our show. So now let me introduce to you our guest for today. Bob Genis is a trial attorney with the Bronx, New York law firm of Sonnen and Genis Esquires, specializing in the trial of wrongful death and significant personal injuries caused by medical malpractice or negligence in state and federal courts. And Bob has obtained over 26 multi-million dollar verdicts. And Bob is also the only recipient of the Lawyers Lawyer Award from the Bronx County Bar Association. And now I bring to you Bob Genis. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Lisa. How are you?
I'm feeling pretty good. It's good weather out here in the Philadelphia area. How is it in the Bronx?
It's good. A little rainy today, but I'm happy to be here to see your smiling face.
Oh, you are so sweet. Thank you. Well, I'm glad to have you. And we are going to get into what we always talk about, how medical records come up in the cases that you have. But first, we want to hear all about you. What got you into this branch of law, or what got you into law at all? Feel free to dive back and tell me the whole story.
Sure. Well, two things. Law itself, I always felt that if I was a lawyer, people couldn't take advantage of me. Okay. And I'd be able to protect myself, protect others. Why I went into this other field is protecting others. I think it's important that law keep us safe. Law is what keeps us safe. I don't think you get societal change, cultural change, until you have a change in the law. And I think law is a great mechanism for making the world a better and safer place.
Oh, that's good. You sound like an advocate for the injured, Bob.
I am.
Excellent. Now, when you get these cases, how do you decide which is a good case to take or which is not so good, something that you should pass on or refer out to another attorney? How do you make those decisions?
Okay, right off the bat, do you have a significant injury? Because these cases, as you know, are very expensive and time consuming. So
Mhm.
if the client's not going to wind up getting a significant recovery, why put the client through it and why put myself through it? So right off the bat, you've got the holy trinity always. You got damages, liability, and coverage. So first thing is, do you have damages? Usually in med mal, there's coverage. So now you're just looking for the liability.
All right. All right. Well, now let's move on to those medical records that come, uh, piles and piles and piles of them that come with cases like this. When they filter into you, do you have a special process or protocol to address them, to review them, to get all the information, the juicy details that you need to support your case? How do you get that done?
That's the hard part. That's the hard work. First, what I do is I go through the records myself. And I'm doing this since 1983. So I'm pretty confident in my level, my ability to read medical records. And I have a pretty good medical library if I have to need to look things up. So usually I can pretty much decide, I'd say about 99% of the time, is this a case or is this not a case? Now and then I have cases where I'm not sure about because maybe just my knowledge isn't good enough. So then I'm steered by what are the damages? Is this a likable client? And what's the venue? If I think I've got damages and I could be in a decent venue, and if I'm still not sure, okay, now I go to Plan B where I have somebody like you take a look at them right off the bat to say, Bob, this is or is not a case. And that's the things right there that I start off with.
All right. Well, you sound like you have plenty of years of experience reviewing medical records.
Since 1983.
All right. Excellent. Now, what do you find the most frustrating or the most puzzling, the most bothersome about dealing with some of those piles of medical records?
They're unorganized. They're all over the place. You go through a chart and you're going back and forth constantly. Nothing is in order. So it's hard to get that timeline to see, okay, I'm making up the date now. On January 1, what started to go wrong and at what time so that you could make your real chronology to see what really went wrong.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, I understand that. Piles of records, and you just receive them in every which way. And then you have to put them together so they make sense.
That's right. And that's assuming that either they're legible or it's the electronic medical record.
Ah.
Now, one of the problems with the electronic medical record is once they make a mistake once, it constantly repeats because they copy and paste. They auto-populate, as they say.
Yeah, I understand. I understand about that. Yes, it's a lot of repeat and rinse, repeat and rinse. So now you have lots of experience since 1981 reviewing those records. You have a large wealth of knowledge, and it's good that you're here communicating that information to everybody. You've given a lot of good details. Is there anything else on your mind? Any other advice that you have for any newbie attorneys or veteran attorneys to help them make those decisions about taking and handling and managing these kinds of medical cases?
Sure. The key thing I think with any case is it's never about your client. And that's one thing a lot of lawyers don't get. The jurors don't care about my client. They care about themselves, their family, and their friends. So you want to, first of all, look for the system failure. Because if it's just one of these out of the blue things that nobody saw it coming, and it's just a once in a lifetime mistake, jurors are going to overlook that. On the other hand, if it's a system failure, so that this was preventable, and if it's not prevented, it's going to happen again, that's a case that I like. And it's about patient safety rules of the road. It's about patient safety because that the jurors care about because they want to be safe when they go to a doctor or hospital.
That's true. Well, and like you said, when you went back to deciding whether you should take that case or not, uh, sometimes every bad result is not necessarily the result of negligence or malpractice. Unfortunately, bad results happen, and it's good that you're diving in to make sure if it's that kind of situation ahead of time.
You have to look at it and you have to know what you're looking for. For example, you have a patient and they have wounds on their legs and they've been in the hospital. Well, it could be pressure wounds, decubitus ulcers, or there could be a vascular insufficiency, which is very separate and very different in how it's treated as well. You'll see wounds, but different cases. Now, did you lose a limb? Did you lose a limb because the wound got infected and gangrene because it was a untreated pressure wound? Or is this just a vascular insufficiency problem?
All right. You know your stuff, Bob. That's good. Well, I'm so glad that you're here sharing all of the juicy details of your long career. And now it's the time we're going to have a little Q&A.
Sure.
So people, get your questions together. Get ready to put them into the chat, and Bob is going to answer them. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Now, while we're waiting for everybody to gather their questions for you together, it's time for what I call a sponsor break, where we talk to you a little bit about Wade Nurse Consultants and what we do here. And then we'll get right back to you, Bob.
Sure.
All right. Now, without a review and summary of medical records, it could be harder to know as an attorney whether you should take those medically related cases. And here at Wade Nurse Consultants, we'll give you a 1 to 2 page synopsis and opinion regarding the merits of those types of cases, using my 30 plus years of nursing experience to make quick work of all of those medical case screenings. So if you're watching this and you are ready to attack your backlog of medical case screenings, or you need to get clarity on medical issues to free yourself to focus on your legal strategies, here's what you do. Right now, we are offering a free 20-minute medical record strategy call to help you hone an efficient, timely, and cost-effective routine around your medical cases. What you'll do is find the link to schedule a call inside the description box of this YouTube channel and schedule that consultation. Now it's time to get back to Bob and the little Q&A. Let's take a look, Bob. Do we have any questions yet? Not yet. But
so let me talk about some key things I find in cases.
Sounds good.
A big mistake a lot of lawyers make is they try to make it complicated. You have to keep it simple. Another mistake I see a lot of lawyers make is they always look at the last thing that happened before the malpractice. Look at the first thing. What started the chain of events in motion? The next thing is, in keeping it simple, there's really, to me, a max of 7 types of med mal cases, right? Is it a failure to diagnose? Is it a failure to treat? Is it a failure to communicate? Is it a surgical malpractice case? Okay. There's really not that many types of malpractice cases. So you have to focus, what is your case about? And then once you're there at the deposition, you've got to lock them in and lock them down. And, for example, if it's a failure to diagnose case, all right, is it they failed to take the proper history? Because who's the skilled questioner? The doctor, not the patient. Who knows what to ask? The doctor. Who knows the medical significance of certain signs or symptoms that may not be appreciated or recognized by the patient? The doctor. Okay, so a lot of cases, it's haste makes waste. The doctor is under pressure to move that assembly line along, to make money, and they don't take a good history. They don't do a good physical exam. So that's one of the things you might want to look at. Then, did they fail to use a nice, simple, easy test that would have diagnosed the condition? For example, in a prostate cancer case, did they fail to do a PSA test? That's so simple and easy. Okay. Is it another test where they just didn't follow the rules, the patient safety rules of differential diagnosis? You got to rule out the worst first, the worst treatable first. And the example I like to give, patient presents with chest pain. Well, could be indigestion, could be a heart attack. One of them, it's okay if you don't diagnose so quickly. The other, it is not. So you've got to rule out the worst first. So, and did they definitively rule it out or not? I didn't ask. Sometimes I get a doctor. Well, I decided it was less likely or not probable. Yeah, but did you definitively rule it out is the question. Because if you didn't definitively rule it out, you're sending somebody home that's a ticking time bomb. And that's not safe. That's not good.
Oh, boy, that sounds like excellent information. A to-do list and not to-do list, or not to forget list.
Depositions are crucial, and you have to be organized. I script out everything. Now I can go off my script, but this way I don't forget things. I don't lose things. I don't lose my place. It's organized. It helps me organize my thoughts, and I have it cross-referenced. So, for example, if I've already set up the doctor to acknowledge that a certain medical treatise is authoritative, okay? Well, I already know the reason I'm doing it is because I've already read that treatise, and I know there's things in it that I want to use. And until they acknowledge it as authoritative, I'm not going to be able to read out of it. So it's all the setup on that as well.
Oh, man, you are a wealth of knowledge and information.
Well, you're taking on a doctor usually, and this is somebody who's pretty expert in their field, and you're taking them on in their field. So you better know what you're doing if you're going to take them on. Otherwise, you're in the wrong business. There's no shortcuts. And as I say, I think for a younger or a less experienced attorney, they're not going to be able to read the records on their own and figure it out. They have to hire you. Okay, they've got to send their records to you because they won't know what they're looking at.
That's true. That's true. I find I end up educating attorneys along the way and giving them information that they can use at a later date.
Yep.
They can store in their memory banks. And
best if they write it down, because we forget things sometimes.
That's true. I understand that. I know a lot, and I've forgotten a few things too, but I get you. But it looks like you are a good source of information. I'm going to put your contact information in the description box in this YouTube channel so people can get to you if they have any more questions or any way that you can help them get through these types of medically related cases.
Thank you.
Sounds like a plan.
Yes, it does.
All right. Well, I'm checking again. We don't have no questions yet, but people catch us on the replay all of the time. So they can reach out to you through your contact information and get to you. And will you answer those questions that they have?
Yeah, of course I will.
Perfect.
And one great resource when you're using your medical textbooks, let's assume it's not a medical malpractice case for the time being, or even if it is for that matter. One of the things, if it's not a death case, it's going to happen is at one point or another, the insurance company is going to hire some doctor to examine your client. Mm-hmm. And at some point or another, you're going to be cross-examining them at trial. So one of the things I like to do is, even in a non-med mal case or just in that exam situation, talk about the standards of care. The standards of care, because let the jury see the double standard the defense has. There's a standard of care for the practice of medicine, but there's no standards for the defense medical exam. They could do what they want. Let the jury see that if a doctor is wrong, that's a treating physician, there can be adverse consequences to the doctor. But if a doctor is wrong in a defense medical exam, they're wrong with impunity. They can do whatever they want, say whatever they want with no consequences to them. Maybe adverse consequences to the patient, but not to them. Another useful thing is, let's assume the client, the patient says, I hurt. Whatever it is that went wrong causes them pain now. A great resource is, don't just think the discipline of the examining doctor, whether it's an ortho, a neuro, an internist, whatever. Pain is pain. Use books from, let's say, pain management to cross-examine an ortho, a neuro, or a different specialist. Because one of the things you'll see happens real fast is the expert's going to backpedal because they don't like to look stupid. And now you're going to start cross-examining them on pain management. And they're going to start saying, hey, I don't know anything about pain management. I'm not a pain management doctor. Well, you just told this jury that my client has no pain, but you don't know anything about pain or pain management. You can have a lot of fun with that. So don't just think, think outside the box, not just, ortho, cross-examine on ortho, etc. Think outside the box. Think how you can use whatever you know against the doctor.
All right. Well, you're a wealth of information today, Bob. And I don't think that doesn't look like we're having any live questions right this moment, but I think we're going to end up winding up a little bit early today.
No problem.
So everybody, your contact information is in there for Bob. My contact information, if you have legal nurse consulting questions, visit me at Lisa at wadenurseconsultants.com. But I think we're winding up for today, Bob.
I'll give one other tip that some of your clients might want you to hire you to do.
Oh.
Okay. A nice pain chart, or let's say it's a pressure wound case. Okay. They're supposed to check the patient and move the patient every 2 hours, but sometimes they don't. Now, it's tedious, which is why maybe I'll hire you to do it instead of me. And you can go through, and I want to know every time 2 hours went by that there's no notation of moving and rotating the patient, et cetera. Because now I want to be able to talk to the jury and say, 43 times they failed to do what the doctor ordered them to do. They were ordered to move the patient every 2 hours just to prevent this from occurring. And 43 times they failed to do so. It's powerful.
Well, yes, if it's not documented, it's not done, Bob.
And write it down, it didn't happen.
That's right. Excellent. Well, yes. And getting those kind of chronological timelines, those pictures of what was not done or what should have been done, we can do that for you. Definitely.
Okay.
Oh, what, Bob, this has been a wealth of information. Good details that I know could be helpful for those veteran and newbie attorneys alike. And how about this? Will you come back again?
Anytime.
Again. Excellent. So we're going to see you on another day, on another episode. And in the meantime, let me just remind everybody to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Call and reach out to Bob if you have any of those questions or referrals for him using the contact information, and reach out to me if you have those legal nurse consulting questions that I could help you with. And next week, we'll be back for a brand new episode, Monday, 5:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for another episode of Should You Take That Case. Thank you for coming, Bob.
Thank you for having me. Have a great day.